Done. You're done. Okay.
We are done.
How rough was
Roy?
it?
It's just a matter of sitting, listening to questions, and being patient and telling the truth. He's now submitted to 2 days' worth of depositions, and he's done exactly what he should do as an interested citizen, which is listen to the question, answer it patiently, truthfully, and so forth. So the deposition process to Mr. Kronk is done.
Do you get an indication that they are trying still to make Mr. Kronk look like he's the murderer?
Well, for an extended period of time in this case, there's been a lot of effort made to cast aspersions on him, to throw dirt on him, to throw mud on him. And I have to honor him for being a guy who's been willing to turn the other cheek. And at the end of the day, in this case, of anybody that's involved in all this mess, he's going to be one guy who's going to come out with his reputation intact. And his dignity intact, and that's our job.
Why were members of Mr. Kronk's family saying that he had told them prior to Thanksgiving of 2008 that he knew where Caylee's remains were and watch me on TV, you're going to see me on TV for finding this little girl?
Well, that didn't happen. I mean, short answer is that didn't happen, that he did not have those conversations. And he's got, problems with past spouses and family members. There's no secret about that. And the defense has done a good job of going throughout the country and finding people who would say bad things about Roy.
You're saying his son and his ex-wife lie?
Whether Judge Perry will allow this information to come in.
Well, Judge Perry is one of the most experienced and best criminal court judges in Orange County and Central Florida. So I'm sure that he's going to look at this and make the correct decision. I don't want to prejudge what he will do, but he's good, and he'll we'll honor whatever he says to do. But I don't think it'll come in, but that's for him to decide.
So you're saying Mr. Kronk's son and ex-wife lied when they made those statements?
Lying is a term that I choose not to use. I would say that maybe they were mistaken or confused.
How do you respond then to his ex-wife saying that he was abusive towards them?
That is a lie. What
about the duct tape? I mean, saying that she was restrained with duct tape. Did Roy do that?
No, he did not.
Let me ask you this. I mean, the ex-wife who's accusing him of that was arrested on bad check charges. She's obviously got her own problems as well. But where do you think this is coming from? Are these people, they weren't questioned under oath, and they could have been, but they weren't. But where do you think all this is coming from them? Are they looking for their 15 minutes of fame, or what the heck is going on with them?
I think that probably some of these people are looking for the 15 minutes of fame, or maybe just doing it out of malice or intent to be harmful or hurtful to Roy. But at the end of the day, none of this stuff really matters in the state of Florida versus Ms. Anthony, and I think that ultimately none of this will see the light of day in a courtroom. But it's still hurtful for Roy, and it's been very challenging for him that 1 out of 100 people might think that there's something to any of this, and so it's very challenging for him to live with this, and he's doing his best to hold his head up high and be dignified about it and turn the other cheek and be an upstanding citizen, which he's been from day one.
Do you really take this as an act of desperation on the defense? I mean, he's obviously a damaging prosecution witness. To say that he believes he found Caylee's remains in August of 2008, the sheriff's office, for whatever reason, didn't investigate thoroughly enough, comes back again in December, certain that was where she was. Do you think that's why he's drawing this from the defense, because he's very damaging to Caylee?
Well, the name of the game in criminal defense is to pick at those witnesses who will be called by the state, and so of course that's what they're doing. I mean, that's no secret, and having being able to stir something up to take the focus off of the evidence against Ms. Anthony. I mean, that's a tried and true defense tactic, and so they're doing that. It's unfortunate that they would be doing that not only in a courtroom, but making the grand tour of national news shows and trying to make him look bad, which is a little bit gratuitous and
Roy,
unfortunate.
if you had to do this all over again, would you?
Yes.
You would?
Yes.
Why?
You don't have regrets, even though you've been painted as a potential murder suspect?
Doing the right thing is its own reward.
That day in December, obviously you'd been out there a few times before. Did you really go out to relieve yourself, or did you just really want to settle your own curiosity as to whether or not what you'd seen in August could have been Caylee?
No, I just really went out there. I mean, the one thing about that job is that you can't go up and knock on a citizen's door and go, "Hi, I'm with Orange County. Can I borrow your bathroom?" So it was just, it was just back in the same area I had to route that day.
Did you step on the bag, or did you
No,
just?
I did not.
Your supervisor told me that you didn't even know that area at that time, the first time in August.
Excuse me for a moment. Excuse me for a moment.
Can I
In
ask
keeping with their desire not to be a participant in trying this case by talking about specific facts in the news media, I think I'm going to have to ask you to excuse us and let us go. When the time comes, he'll be able to tell his entire story. But until that time, part of what we're trying to do is respect the criminal justice process. So we don't want to, mess that up by talking
At all, or has
No.
he been able to get another job?
It was
No.
actually your supervisor who told you that was the neighborhood where Caylee was from. Is that right? I mean, he's actually the one who sort of directed you to that area.
Yep.
You weren't even aware of it.
So are you back to work?
Well, we're gonna, as I said earlier, we're gonna not respond to specifics about the case because it's in litigation, and we'll let the court rule on it. We don't want to participate in trying it in the media as others have.
Has
Thank
this
you.
ruined your employment ability, your ability to gain new employment?
Are you looking for a new job?
It's just been very difficult for me, that's all I'll say.
What about, can you talk about your first deposition, okay? Your first deposition, all these motions were filed the same afternoon, painted as potential murder suspect. Was this a dirty trick by the defense?
Well, obviously it was intended to maximize the public reaction to it as opposed to dealing with it appropriately in a court of law. So, if you want to call that a dirty trick, I'll leave it up to others to characterize, but I think it was gratuitous and unnecessary and not in keeping with the way that normally these things would be handled in a court of law before a judge. So I'll let that be our answer.
Is this one going cordial just as the name is last?
We're not like enemies of each other. This is people's jobs that they do. You may not always agree with the way they do them, but we don't have any particular axe to grind with anybody in this case. He's just a witness, so that's the way we approached it from day one.
Does it even make any sense to you, the defense theory that he would have murdered Caylee, who he had no connection to, and then brought all this attention on himself instead of just keeping quiet and disappearing and never getting caught? Does that even make any sense when you really think it through, that they would even try to think that people would believe this?
Well, I think your question almost suggests the answer. Of course it doesn't make any sense. So that'll be their burden if they ever get an opportunity, which I doubt that they will, but if they ever get an opportunity to try to convince a jury of this, have at it. But it doesn't make any sense to me.
So you guys are done for good. No more depositions for Mr. Kronk.
That's correct. Done for good. Thanks, guys.
Can we get a clean shot?
I just don't want to go down that road because you answer that question and then you get another one, you get another one.
Well, could you just answer that one? Because the supervisor told me that Roy didn't even know that area, didn't even really know that neighborhood. That was the first time he had ever worked in that neighborhood.
I think you could conclude that from the public records that was the first time that he'd been in that area. So you can conclude that from the public records. But I want to respect the process in a way that allows these things to come out in court and be ruled upon by Judge Perry. That's the way it should work, and that's the way we're going to have it work. And that's, in my view, the appropriate way for it to happen. So that's what we're going to do. Thank you.
Can we get a clean shot of him leaving?
Yeah, everybody step back up there.